Okay, so how are you all? So today we are talking about fasting. And yesterday we talked a little bit about dry brushing and how the, you know, things that need to get out of our body come out in many different ways, but one of them is through the skin. And so that's why we drained, we're learning how to drain the lymphatic system. So today I wanted to talk about fasting, and I'm a little bit of an etymology dork, which means that I love the study of language and where words derive from, because I believe that it tells you a lot about a culture. And even if it doesn't, some of the words don't make sense today and how we live, it's like how we used to live. So I'm thinking about the word breakfast, right? And that word literally means to break the fast. And you can think of the fast as sleeping time, okay? But back in the day, the fasting part where we actually don't eat food was a little bit longer. So today you can think of, the fact that many of us come home late and we put the TV on and then we kind of just snack in front of the TV. Many people fall asleep in front of the TV and, might even fall asleep with food with them. So what happens is the body never gets to fully rest when you eat late at night. Okay, so we are part of the circadian rhythm. And the circadian rhythm is that roughly 24-hour period where all humans and plants and animals have the rhythm of, the solar system, where it's the physiological process of how we basically wake and sleep. Okay, and it has to be in balance. So when you think of at night your body needing to rest, you also have to think about every single organ in your body that needs to rest as well. So for example, the pancreas, and the liver, they want to go to bed at like 7 p.m. So if we feed our organs until 10 p.m., what happens is they want to go into this repair state. And when we feed them late, you were confusing the body by telling them that they have to digest still. Well, we confuse the body a little bit. They don't digest it, but they take that food and they store it in fat storage. Okay, so it's like when I tell my yoga students that, one of my classes is an hour long and some people have to leave early. So I just say, listen, don't care if you leave early. Just please, 5 minutes before you have to leave, lay down in Shavasana. The reason for that is we've just done all this incredible yoga work, like physical asana, and the body wants to rest. And the reason why we lay down in corpse pose at the end of the class is so all those benefits and all that energy we've created now comes in and the vibrations start to heal the body. Okay, same thing just for regular daytime. Same thing for people who work out. You lift, you pick things up and you put them down, and then when you are in rest mode is when the muscles start to form. Okay, so that's why we need to rest. Now, when the body goes into repair mode, that's when the body almost does like this scan where it starts to scan for diseases. And that's where it picks up on the fact that we have, plaque in our arteries, and that's where it starts to pick up the fact that we have cancer cells and stuff like that. So the repair mode is super, super important. And so think of the amount of waking hours that you are awake during the day, and how much of those hours you are actually eating. Okay, so even if you go to bed at 10, I want to introduce the idea of stopping the intake of food around 7 o'clock. Okay, because that's when our organs tend to start to want to repair. And so we're just drinking water at that time, maybe an herbal tea at that time, but we just want the body to go into repair mode. When we expose our body to even healthy foods after 7 p.m., it stays in this pro-inflammatory state or condition, and that's where diseases, like I just mentioned, thrive in that pro-inflammatory state. So if you have been following us over at my Oil This by Jenny Facebook group this whole time during this 30-day reset, you'll have been taking all the supplements, and all the supplements are really helping to keep the inflammation away and to reduce the inflammation. Okay, and that's why right now we're in the detox phase. I wanted to give props to anyone who has started the GX Assist. So down below you'll see in the link here in YouTube the entire kit that we're using, the Cleanse and Restore. And so the GX Assist is something that we're using this week to really detox all the body. But we really, really have to let the body rest. during that period. So we must stay in the beat of nature, is my point, in order for the body to heal. Okay, they have been finding over and over again that to help the increase of obesity in our culture is just to get back to the circadian rhythm of fasting 12 hours on and 12 hours off. Okay, now if you want to reverse it, what I actually wanted to introduce today is that you're actually doing 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. Now I want to make sure to just mention that anyone who has a history of eating disorders, or if you're on a lot of medicine that requires you to have food intake, you want to just make sure that you're doing, what you need to do for your, and then listening to your doctor. But I also wouldn't be afraid of just talking to my doctor about this idea of fasting a little bit, or just getting into the balance of 12 and 12, okay? So that would mean 7 p.m. you might stop eating, or let's say 8 p.m. and then like maybe 9, 10 p.m. you go to bed, and then the next day you're not eating anything until 12 noon. So that's where you really want to just start drinking all the water we've been talking about and all that, okay? So the first time that you start this kind of fasting, it might be a little hard, but I wanted to give you a couple tricks that I do. So here's my my glass water. You want to make sure it's always glass. And I love seltzer water, but I don't love always having straight seltzer, just because it's like very gassy. So I usually do half water and half seltzer. But what I do in the middle, or at the beginning, as long as it's glass, is I take grapefruit, okay, which if you've seen my other videos, you know that in my cabinet in my kitchen I have basically all the citruses, and then a few more like turmeric and on guard and cinnamon and different things like cardamom to cook with, black pepper. So I just take 1 drop of essential oil. That's it. And I just drop it right in, boop. And then another blend that I was talking about yesterday in the dry brushing that you can use on your body is Slim and Sassy. And Slim and Sassy is designed to really curb appetite. It's a metabolic blend, and it's designed to curb appetite. But grapefruit is one of the main, ingredients or oils in there. And so I just do 1 drop of grapefruit in the water. And because water and oil don't mix, it kind of stays on the top when you do this. That's why I pour it in, because it kind of mixes up the oil. All right? And then you can just drink this throughout the time when you're fasting, you get a little bit hungry. Now, I wanted to just mention, that fasting is actually in just about every single religious culture. And there's a reason for that. And you can, depending on if you have a religion that you practice, you can go to your religion and just kind of study out what was said by Muhammad, by Jesus, by Buddha, all about fasting and how we get to this incredible state. And that's where like prayers and all this help to, become more effective. And the other thing is that, when I've researched a little bit about fasting, that people can't believe how much money they spend on food, because you're getting your body used to the state where you're just having something super small in the morning, like probably just water, and then you're having a decent sized lunch, and then a really small dinner like salad, and so they're finding that people are saving so much money. And I heard this one piece where someone was saying, imagine if you wanted to serve more. Imagine if you wanted to serve underprivileged people more, and you were able to save all this money, and then like in churches they call it tithing, but able to give part of what you make right away to the poor. And if everyone just fasted a little bit, and if everyone had this benevolent mindset, then world hunger would be eradicated, right? So it's just this cool way of thinking about it. And what we're going to be talking more about in the nourish phase, the last 10 days, is more of these kinds of practices, right? We're starting to like detox the body, reset the body, get used to new habits, really detox, and then really nourish it with not only nourishing foods, but nourishing habits, like all across the board. So that's where we're going next. So the last thing I just wanted to teach you about is what I do with cinnamon bark. So cinnamon bark, you guys all know, is we use it as a spice, right? And there's so much research about cinnamon that is so good. Like I use this website called Earth Clinic, and it's just testimonials about people and how they use cinnamon. But it's really hard to take an entire teaspoon of cinnamon. It's like you'll choke you basically. So cinnamon bark, and as you know, the essential oils are so concentrated that you just need a little bit. So what I have found cinnamon helps for is to curb sugar cravings. So what I do is I just take, those of you who know essential oils, you know it's so strong you do not even need sometimes even one drop. I'll take my pinky and just put it right on top. If there's nothing there, you can like do this, but sometimes it's just on there from walking around with it. And I'll just take a little bit, put it right on my tongue. Now, if any of you guys went to the penny candy store when we were little, it was more like 25 cents. But my cousin and I would go get all these fireballs, put them under our tongue. We thought we were so badass. And try to stomach the heat of the fireball. That's what this feels like right now. And so you can imagine, I have a lot on my finger. If I have this on my tongue, I basically just don't want to eat any chocolate. So I kind of will do that if I have a craving, and then I'll just, chase it with my little water cocktail. So that's what I wanted to teach you today about fasting. So go ahead, try it out. Write down on a piece of paper or on your calendar, I'm going to try 7 p.m. to stop eating if you're someone who goes to bed at like 8 or 9, maybe 6 p.m., right? If you get up really early, and then it's like 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, you get to eat again. So it's not so bad. And then, 8 p.m. would be 12 the next day. So just drinking, maybe herbal tea. They say in some circles you could do like soup, like a bone broth, but if you're doing the real fast, just water. Just check it out for a day or 2 or 3 or 7 and let me know how it goes. Hope you guys have fun with that. Have an awesome day, and I'll put all the links for these items below. Bye-bye.